Truth Table News World. What's up, everybody? What is happening? It is Thursday, January 8th, 2026. How's everybody doing today? Glad you guys could stop by. Sam Spencer's in the house. Para, good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Glad that you guys are popping in here today. We've got a jam-packed show for you tonight, but I am just going to go right off the bat and just let you know I was supposed to have Ghost on tonight. And of course, duty called in the 11th hour. So he called me to let me know he was not going to be able to make it. You know, he is doing the right thing for the right republic. So I'll leave it at that. But I'm here. So hopefully that's a good thing. Happy New Year, by the way. This is the very first live stream for Truth Table News World in 2026. Are you guys having fun yet? Huh? With January, right? I mean, we told you a while back ago, shit's going to get real, and it already has. Hopefully, we're not going to wind up with a, Floyd 2.0, if you guys know what I mean. Because it's starting to spread. It's starting to spread. I'm hoping that can, they can go ahead and get it handled and under control. But with the nut jobs out there, I don't know. We will see. Hopefully it won't, blow up in everybody's face. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, what's up? Talk to me. Can you guys hear me? 5x5. We got a special guest in the chat tonight. Just want to extend him. He came over from Truth Social. And man, I have no filter, by the way, and I know you're hearing me, right? So long dong silver away. Yeah. He couldn't change the name is from what he told me in a message that he sent. But anyway, I have no filter, man. It just reminds me of some porno movie back from the 70s, but I'll leave it there. I don't want to go there. Anyway. All right. So 5x5 Para. Zanuvar. Oh my God. Welcome to the chat. I hope you're not buried in snow up in your part of the country. And yeah, we're going to be in for a deep chill here coming pretty soon. But anyway, hope you guys are having a good time. In the beginning of the year, hope you had a festive holiday season and a happy new year, of course, always. I'm just here hanging out, man, just looking at everything, eating popcorn and stuff like that. But let me see. She's saying here, got quiet a bit and the start of the sick that's moving around here. Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought that up and you mentioned that because of the fact that I am going to be dropping, and that's going to be towards the closeout of the show tonight. I am going to be dropping the piece on the certain mega flu that is out there that's going around. Rogue RN, I'm sure. I'm trying to see if I can get her back in onto the show pretty soon. She's kind of recuperating from all her life challenges and stuff like that because I know she's read in a little bit more on what's going on with the superbug. So hopefully I can get her back on here pretty soon. But that being said, let's go ahead and take care of some commercials and then we'll go ahead and kick this thing off. You guys dig the shirt I got on? Huh? Look at that. I fix shit. That's what I do. I try to anyway, but I thought it was a pretty cool shirt. Anyway, let's go ahead and take care of some bills, shall we? So let me just scroll up here. Bear with me because I'm a little bit sleep deprived, and that's okay, right? It's just, par for the course. So if you guys notice the little QR code that is up there in the on top of your screen, you guys want to find out all my links, all my socials, emails, contact information, Discord, all of those wonderful things, scan that QR code. That will also give you access to the 444 Media merch store. Like said hat, you can get one of these killer hats out there. We got them in black, we got them in white. We got some cool looking t-shirts out there also as well, some stickers. and I will be adding some more trinkets out there, if you will. Those of you that want to help out and support the show, you can always hit me up over at buymeacoffee.com/TTNW. Buy me a cup of Java because it's cold outside, baby. We need to keep warm. You know what I mean? Those of you that would prefer to use Cash App, you can hit me up at cash.app/$ Truth Table News World. I would appreciate the support there also as well. I'm just going to pop this up here right there. There's a link. I'll leave it up for a minute there if you guys want to go and check out the merch store. But I have even better news. And thank you to Rumble for putting the tip jar, right, for all the Rumble premium folks, as myself, right? If you want to go ahead and tip in crypto, you can now do that. You can go to the bottom of your page there on your screen, and you can just click on the tip jar if you want to throw Gonzo Man over here a little bit of cryptage, right? That would be greatly appreciated. So, hey, we're just trying to do the best we can to help you guys out there with whatever it is you may need. So again, QR code up there, scan it. You folks over there on YouTube, we are streaming live over on YouTube also as well. I want to try to stream over to X, but I'm not at that point yet. I just don't feel like it, because X, not that I hate them, not that I love them, but it's basically the cesspool for a lot of misinformation and a lot of propaganda. Just leave it there. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Let me go back up here to the chat before I kick this thing off. Quiet. Money Woman 11, 5x5 from down under in Australia. Good morning, I think. Maybe it's lunchtime. I have no idea. I lose track of time there. JJ Johnson from Finland. 2026 started strong. Yes, sir. It has, man. Glad you're here, man. I know it's early morning over there in Finland, but thank you for stopping by from overseas. We're global, right? You guys like that? I do. I love it. Let me see. Xanavar states on here. I really want to know her opinion on the new food pyramid that dropped. I rather like it. Well, yeah, and that's basically nothing new. That is nothing new. The food pyramid that RFK Jr. dropped is really the original old food chain or food pyramid, if you say, going back a long, long, long time, right? That's one of the reasons why back in the 40s and the 50s and partially into the 60s, obesity in this country, or for the globe for that matter, wasn't an issue, right? I don't even think back in the 80s as much. It wasn't even an issue that much, until we started consuming all of this, processed and, dyed food, all of this junk shit, right? So yeah, I'm pretty cool with that. I think it's a pretty good thing. I hope so. The other thing that we got to start focusing on is going to be big pharma, meds and all that stuff, because there's a lot of issues going on, man, but we're working on it, right? I hope you guys enjoyed that little drop of, YMCA there in the beginning. Hopefully it went through fine. I hope so. I don't know. I'm just in that kind of mood with the trumpage, and we're going to dive into some really good stuff here tonight, right? Let me see. Sorry, I'm just reading through this thing. American Bread from JJ Johnson. Well, yeah, I think we're going to be working on that too as well. Because, there's a lot of breads out there. By the way, Aldi's, if you have an Aldi in your area close to you, they have some killer grain, lots of seed bread that's out there. You basically, for breads, you really just need to look at the sugars. How much sugars and how much added sugars are in your loaves of bread. Try to find the one that's got the least amount of sugar in it, and definitely zero added sugar. And they do have a couple of loaves that you can pick over at Aldi's. I don't know about Lidl or anything like that. I got an Aldi's close to me, and they're pretty good. Or like Sam Spencer just said in here, I make my own bread. Yes, absolutely. Right. That's probably the optimal way to go. And it's true. I love, especially banana bread when you do it homemade. It's just good stuff. That's just me. Who else is in here? Who else is in here tonight? Man, I'm happy you guys are here. You guys are here tonight, man. I miss you guys. I really do. Anyway, so tonight, I'm just going to read off what I got here for you. We're going to go ahead and cover the Western Hemisphere, an update to the Western Hemisphere. The last stream that I did on the Western Hemisphere kind of laid out a foundation for where it's at, what the goal is, what's happening. It's 6-dimensional chess. I was on on Deep Thoughts last night with Jeff. Go over there and make sure you hit him up and check him out if you didn't get to catch that. And I covered a little bit of that. Okay, especially the behind the scenes that the media is not covering on what happened with the Western Hemisphere and all the operations that are going on. But we're gonna touch a little bit tonight on Cuba. We're gonna touch a little bit on Venezuela, on how all this plays together, and then I am gonna go ahead and share a video that it's a TikTok that I basically found, and it's talking about how oil works. Right? It's very, very informative, very, very interesting. So you have an idea on how that whole operation basically operates. All right. Sarah Adams has a new warning, a new drop that I'm going to share with you also as well. Then I'm going to cover a little bit about the U.S. Army and their role in the Western Hemisphere. A lot of you maybe know about it. Some of you may not. Okay, so I'm going to dive into that also as well. Then we're going to talk about, let me just look at it here real quick. We're going to talk about a letter. A letter. Now, this letter is unvetted. I'm just going to put that out there right away because you know me, I don't do this tinfoil shit, right? So a letter that was dropped to me by a source, I have not been able to confirm it, vet it, and in my opinion, it's probably bullshit, okay? And some of you that follow the Q drops will get where I'm coming from on this, all right, because of the language that's in here and how that connects to the Western Hemisphere, especially the role that the U.S. Army is playing. Again, I don't know if this was an AI generation. I don't know if this is real. Okay, I don't think it is, in my opinion, but I'm going to read it anyway because there are a lot of points in that letter. And as I go through it, and I'll share it with you on screen, is going to tie into a lot of things that happened in 25. Okay, especially with Sec War, with Hegseth. All right. And after that, I am going to touch on a document that I came across talking about how we are basically disassociating ourselves from a lot of UN organizations. And again, why? Because Trump has dropped that little hint every now and then talking about how we need to just get away from the UN. Right? So we're going to cover that. So it's going to leave a lot of open ends, you know, for you guys to make up your own opinion. And that's where we're going to kick off with this. All right. Over on YouTube, Shield Maiden Faith, welcome to the chat. Hey, thank you for the support over there on YouTube. Glad you're here. Nobody else. She's just there by herself. If you guys have not gone over to YouTube, go over there and look me up on Truth Table News World over on the YouTube channel. I haven't met their minimum requirements yet as far as doing anything because they want 4,000 watch hours and they want 1,000 subscribers. So I'm just trying to build up to meet their requirements, if you will, just to create more exposure. Not that I really am that all interested in anything else, but whatever. I just put a lot of shorts out there too after I do streams. You know, Paris says, UN needs to leave the USA. Long Dong Silver away says that Sam Spencer agreed. He was like, I would say right now, people need to move more toward natural foods. Yeah, okay, that's cool. That's cool, right? So that's awesome. I'm totally down with that. So let me see. Money Woman 11 says UN needs to be buried, never to write again. As they say down under, yeah, the whole lot, right? You guys will get it if you understand the lingo. Anyway, all right, folks, let's go ahead and kick this thing off. Think about covered all the stuff. You know, we're just having some fun here. So this was a piece that was written that came from Tyler Durden over on Zero Hedge. Basically, it was submitted by the Bureau's Michael Lima, which was a very, very interesting piece, right? And this is about Cuba's security state colonization in the Americas, all right? Proven by Delta Force killing 32 intel agents surrounding Maduro. Now, a lot of the mainstream folks never touched on that fact, right? They only said, yeah, we had no casualties. Thank God for that. Other than one of the helicopters taken around and it was still operational. So no damage done there other than to the skin of the helicopter. Great. But none of our service guys, you know, got hit. All right. However, they never did report about the 32 intel agents, which they weren't really 32 intel agents. They were they were a special forces unit that is called Avispas Negras, right? Which means the black wasps, all right? Which they used to be called Boinas Negras, which was black berets, which is the Cuban special forces, all right? So he was surrounded by a lot of these guys, these Cuban SF people, and also their intelligence apparatus. They were all Cuban, by the way, all 32, right? So their communist newspaper down on the island, Grandma, basically reported this, and they were having these candlelight vigils and all this shit and blah, 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 the whole propaganda bit. So for years, the Cuban regime has insisted that its presence in Venezuela was benign, limited to doctors, nurses, and sports trainers offering humanitarian solidarity. The deaths of 32 Cuban military and intelligence personnel while defending Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro have now shattered that fiction. All right. So, as early as March 2019, Cuba's ambassador to Canada, Josefina Vidal, appeared on CBS News to denounce Canadian reporting on Cuba's security intervention in Venezuela. She dismissed the claims outright. Quote, "The assertion that thousands of Cubans would allegedly be inserted into the structures of the armed and security forces of Venezuela, supporting the government of legitimate President Nicolas Maduro is scandalous." All right? Scandalous. Think about that for a moment, right? Yeah, scandalous anyway. But anyway, let me go ahead. I lost my place here for a minute. Sorry about that. Scandalous. There we go. Got it. Scandalous slander, she said, demanding proof. Demanding proof. I mean, I don't know how much more proof you want, right? Today, the proof is unmistakable, however. These men did not die treating patients or coaching athletes. They were killed as part of Maduro's inner security ring, exposing Cuba's central role in exporting its intelligence and repression model to keep authoritarian allies in power, right? So the reality didn't emerge overnight. Cuban-Venezuelan security cooperation dates back at least to 2008, when both regimes signed agreements granting Havana extraordinary influence over Venezuela's armed forces and intelligence services. Under these accords, Cuba trained Venezuelan soldiers, restructured key military units, trained intelligence agents in Havana, and most consequently, reoriented Venezuela's intelligence apparatus away from external threats and toward surveilling its own officers and commanders, right? So it's spy on spy. This transition proved vital to the regime's survival, allowing it to neutralize internal dissident and consolidate power for more than 2 decades. So basically what they're saying here is this, folks. Maduro was at a point already recently too, and not really recently, let's just go back a couple decades, was at the point where he didn't trust his own military. He didn't trust his own inner circle. So he had the Cuban Special Forces and their intelligence apparatus become his inner circle, right? Because he trusted them more than his own people. Just let that sink in, right? Now, that architecture of control became fully visible on January 3rd, 2026, during Operation Absolute Resolve, a U.S. military operation carried out by Delta Force and the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment that resulted in the capture of Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, and their transfer to the United States. On January 5th, Maduro appeared in federal court in New York to face his 4-count indictment, accusing him of leading a 25-year narco-terrorism conspiracy. So during the operation, 32 Cuban operatives from the Revolutionary Armed Forces and the Ministry of Interior were killed while defending Maduro. Their deaths were not denied by Havana. On the contrary, the Cuban government confirmed both the casualties and their military ranks in Presidential Decree number 1147, signed by Miguel Diaz-Canel, who's the douchebag that leads Cuba, right? Which also declared 2 days of national mourning. Oh my God, 2 days of national mourning. The decree amounted to an extraordinary admission. Cuban state forces were embedded at the highest levels of Venezuela's security apparatus. Although the Cuban regime did not officially disclose their names, the independent Cuba Cuban outlet, a 14 y medio, that's 14 and a half, identified 6 of the deceased along with their ranks and provinces of origin. And using social media posts, private messages, and partial confirmations from local authorities, most were from eastern Cuba, particularly Grama and Santiago de Cuba, which is just to the north of Gitmo. Among them were Fernando's Baez Hidalgo, 26, linked to the Interior Ministry's Personal Security Doctorate, Landy Osorio Lopez, a state security operative deployed in Caracas, and Yordenis Marlones, reportedly part of the Venezuelan president's direct protection detail. Others appeared to belong to the Avispas Negras, or the Black Wasp, as I mentioned earlier, an Interior Ministry unit sanctioned by the U.S. Treasury for violently suppressing the July 11, 2021 pro-democracy protests. At least one of those killed was identified as a cryptographer. Okay, so these guys are very trained, very specialized. I don't think they're all that good, but anyway, just my opinion. Now, the extent of this penetration was underscored days later by U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who stated that Maduro's entire security structure was effectively controlled by Cubans, those who guarded him, those who monitored loyalty within the regime, and those who kept him insulated from his own people. As I mentioned, the implication was unmistakable. Venezuela had not merely allied with Cuba, it had colonized by Cuban intelligence, or been colonized by Cuban intelligence, which is also fact. This model of exported repression is not unique to Venezuela. A similar pattern has taken root in Nicaragua, which is true. Under who? Ortega. Since the mass protests of April 2018, credible accounts from retired Nicaraguan military officers, including Major Roberto Samcam, indicated that dictator Daniel Ortega has increasingly surrounded himself by Cuban advisors embedded in his security apparatus. In other words, a copycat of the Venezuelan model. Now, that was displacing Nicaraguan personnel who had once formed his inner circle. So same MO, same thing, all right? It's cut, paste, same shit. Independent reporting suggests that roughly 60 Cuban advisors operate within Nicaragua's military and security structures, overseeing surveillance, loyalty, screening, and repression. Now, during Operation Cleanup in April 2018, Cuban special forces reportedly operated alongside paramilitary units during mass arrests and the violent dismantling of civilian resistance, an archetypical case of the Cubanization of repression. Is, you guys get it. Now, the military operation that led to Maduro's capture signals a decisive shift in U.S. credibility and deterrence. For years, autocrats faced with little cost as U.S. responses were limited to statements and sanctions that failed to change behavior. Under the previous administration, of course, and of course, Barry Soetoro. That would be old bummer. So it would now be a strategic mistake for the United States, after executing such a sophisticated operation, not to pair it with a coherent political strategy to promote a democratic transition in Venezuela. A democratic Venezuela, one that respects electoral results and the popular will, especially that of the more than 70% of Venezuelans who voted for Edmundo Gonzalez in July 28th of 2024 elections, would halt the export of authoritarianism. By the way, Edmundo, the legitimate president, is now over in Spain. I don't know for how much longer. Okay. The contrast between Gonzalez, Edmundo Gonzalez, the popular 70%, winner of the election, obviously before Maduro stole it, he has the ear and the hearts of the Venezuelan military. So one would wonder, well, what about Maria Corina, Machado? What about her? Well, she was snuck out of Venezuela by a private military security operation from Florida, and she went to Norway. Okay, she's the one that received the Nobel Peace Prize. It was actually her daughter who received it on her behalf for security purposes because that was given over to, she gifted it to Donald Trump, basically. So that woman has the ear and the hearts of the Venezuelan people, but not the Venezuelan military. So this is a sticky point for Rubio. You understand? As far as them putting her placed back in power and get rid of the illegitimate vice president who is currently in charge, right? Because they need to weed out 2 or 3 bad hombres from the Maduro regime who supposedly, to the public ear, my understanding, allegedly, they have no idea where these people are at. I'm pretty sure intelligence agencies know where they're at, but they're just playing the long ball just to put other protocols in place. That's my opinion. All right. So obviously, if Edmundo Gonzalez is instated as president of Venezuela, Corina Machado will be VP. Hopefully, she can gain the trust and the love of the Venezuelan military. And I do not know as of yet what the disconnect was there. I have no idea. All right. So, dismantling state-sponsored narco-trafficking networks help reverse the refugee exodus and reemerge as a reliable energy partner. Sustained oil production growth is unrealistic under a corrupt criminal regime. By contrast, JP Morgan estimates that a political transition could raise output to 1.3 to 1.4 million barrels per day within 2 years. Okay? And potentially to 2.5 million over the next decade. Currently, right now, I believe they're only doing about 1 million barrels a day. That's it. So it's basically almost nothing, right? But they do have to rebuild their oil, their pump sites, infrastructure. They also have to uplift everything, the infrastructure. I mean, and understand this: that heavy, dirty crude has a tremendous amount of sulfur in it. Okay, and sulfur, what does that do? That eats away. It's like they call it like hydrochloric acid. Once they go through the processing, which puts a lot of wear and tear, and it's a very high maintenance on the actual machinery that pumps this oil out. Right now, sweet or light crude is a different story, which is what Guyana has a lot of. All right, so you guys get an understanding. So if people out there are thinking that getting this low-grade crude, to my understanding, anything that is measured on a scale of 0 and above is good. Anything that is negative 10 on that scale is not so good. It's still doable, but it's not that good. And Venezuela's, thick or heavy crude, if you will, is at a 9.5. So it's almost there, but not really. Okay, if that makes any sense to you guys. It's going to be a long haul before they actually get that production full and ongoing. And per Trump this afternoon, the regime change may take up to 4 years. So it's going to be a long process. Don't expect for this to happen overnight. Now, the good news is here that the Venezuelan people, technically, the good ones, right, scattered throughout the world, throughout South America, Central America, whatever, are happy as hell. They're dancing in the streets because they've just been liberated. So I'm pretty sure flights will be reimposed, going back and forth so they can go see their family, whatever, maybe even go back and stay there. Who knows, right? And it's all going to be under the oversight of the United States for America. Key word there. We'll get to that soon. So history shows the democratic transitions fail when senior power brokers and regime institutions escape accountability. Figures such as, and these are the ones they're looking for, Diosdado Cabello, Delcy Rodriguez, Jorge Rodriguez, and Vladimir Patrino Lopez must face justice or mafia-like structures will persist. And that's the problem they're having, okay? Now, the eventual fall of the regime would have far-reaching regional consequences, deepening Cuba's isolation, fracturing the authoritarian axis with Russia, curbing the influence of China and Iran, weakening ELN and FARC groups in Colombia linked to drug trafficking, and helping stem the largest mass exodus in Latin American history. Okay. Little uptick here on Colombia. You've all heard out there reports in the news, saying that, oh, well, Cuba's next. Yes, my prediction is I feel, in my opinion, their days are very close and very numbered. I give them maybe mid-February before you're going to see drastic collapsing happening on the island. Now, who is going to do the nation building there? Unknown. Who are they going? Who is the intel agencies going to place there? Unknown. Right? Are there any candidates not on the island? Of course, maybe I don't know yet. That's unknown. Or maybe stateside that will be willing to temporarily go in there and you know pose as their new president, right? For the liberation of Cuba. That's also going to play into a lot of people leaving here and going back over there to, stay with their families. Maybe they can travel back and forth. So there is another piece of freedom there for those folks, right? Next on the line is going to be Nicaragua. That's going to be a little bit of a tougher bite, to chew on, but doable. Greenland, of course, will be purchased. We all know that. How can I say that? What I'm going to talk about here later on in the broadcast, you'll be able to connect those dots, okay, as far as Greenland is concerned, all having to do with the Western Hemisphere. Now, despite the deaths of the 32 Cuban operatives, as long as the Venezuelan regime remains in power, many other Cuban intelligence advisors will continue to be embedded across multiple spheres of influence. That's a bad thing. These deaths reveal how authoritarian regimes sustain one another through intelligence sharing and the export of repression, regardless of the human cost. Obviously, communism, right? So, repressive regimes do not stand alone. They sustain one another. The Cubans who died defending Nicolas Maduro did so not in defense of Venezuela, but in defense of a repressive system responsible for crimes against humanity, torture, political imprisonment, enforced disappearances, and extrajudicial killings. A system built on surveillance, fear, and impunity. Their deaths mark not only the collapse of a security ring, but the unmasking of an entire axis of repression in the Americas. Okay? Leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts on what you just heard. Okay? Please leave a comment down below. Or let me just digress over here to the chat real quick and see if anything else pops up here. All right, we've got Sam Spencer over on YouTube now. He's up on my 42-inch TV. Awesome, man. I hope it looks good. Shield is watching me on TV too. Oh my God. I love it. All right, scrolling up here. Sam says here, I bet the leadership of Cuba shit their pants when that raid happened. Well, yeah. There are memes out there of Diaz-Canel sitting on a toilet praying. I don't know to who, but whatever. JJ Johnson from Finland says here, allegedly Maduro was more like a hostage to the Cubans and Maduro was rescued from them. Whatever was happening, there was a deal made with many people behind the screens in Venezuela, in my opinion. I agree with you. I agree. Okay, I think a deal was made with Donald Trump. Okay, and that could be maybe asylum somewhere for exchange of information, key infrastructure details. I don't know. It's just my speculation, right? LDSA. I'm not going to say the name anymore because I get flashbacks, man. It's just, I don't know, whatever. LDSA, replying to JJ Johnson, I'd be inclined to agree with you. From my understanding, Cuba ran Venezuela. That is correct. Absolutely correct. Spot on. Okay. Maduro will be used as a flashlight to corruption in the U.S. and the world. Oh, yeah. They got names. Believe me, they got names. Especially his inner circle. Two of his chiefs, one that was very high-level intel, tier 1 intel for him, got captured. He's currently here in jail, and he's singing like a canary. Okay, he's dropped numerous names of current House representatives and Senate people, mostly Democrats, of course. There are some rhinos in there that were taking payback from unsanctioned oil, okay, and other things, that are going back into these representatives' pockets. There is a theory or a rumor out there, again, coming from X's, cesspool of misinformation and propaganda, that the Speaker of the House, Johnson, through a PAC, a PAC, if you will, was taking kickback money from those operations down in Venezuela as well. Again, that is a rumor. There is no fact. I have not been able to uncover any proof on that, but then again, you never know, right? He says here, I will be eating my popcorn through it. Yeah. Sam Spencer, I think the first thing that needs to go down there is work on social problems they face, like feeding the populace. Yes, agreed 100%. I'll tell you this. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos of these influencers that actually go down to Cuba and they're reporting about, the classic cars, the food, the people. And the one key thing that sticks out to me about watching those videos is this. The people look to be in very bad shape. Some don't look too bad. Some look really bad. You're like, oh my God, it's an island of homeless people, if you will, if you can just picture that in your mind. The surprise is they're extremely friendly. They hate the freaking state, hate communism, love America. Okay. And anybody that travels from here to go over there or from Europe and they speak a little bit of Spanish, or some of them, some broken English, that they can somehow have a communication. They're great people. And you don't know them from Adam. They just meet and hey, I want to go here or I want to go there. Yeah, sure. Come on, follow me. Let's go. They'll stop. They'll get a beer. They'll buy some food and stuff like that. And, he'll tip them some money just to help them, give them some cash, right? Or pesos just to help them out, right? Like on a humanitarian basis. But they do not like being filmed, because if it ever gets out on the internet and they're talking negative about the state, they go to jail. Right? If you fart the wrong way in Cuba and the state or, the snitches that are around you all the time, hear it, smell it, whatever, they'll drop a dime on you and you'll go to jail. And they don't want that. They live in constant fear. Okay. Just like what they're trying to implement here. All right. So let me go ahead and clear the screen here real quick. And we're going to go ahead and jump into the first video segment that I talked to you guys about, speaking on oil. All right, so let me go ahead and cue this in. Anyway, guys, leave a comment down below. I'd greatly appreciate it. Smash that like button over on YouTube. Follow, share, subscribe. You know the drill. Just to go ahead and get the channel boosted here a little bit while I cue this up. All right. Let me look for the right one. There we go. There it is. Sound is on. All right, so let me go ahead and kick this off. So basically, this is an explanation of the world's major oil providers and the chain and how it works. The petrodollar's final days, simple explanation by Geo Minister.
Major oil-producing countries. They have different flags, different cultures, different politics.
Let me know if you guys
but they all have one thing in common. That is, they sell oil in US dollars. But if a country owns oil, shouldn't it be free to sell it however it wants? So why do nearly all oil-producing nations, and about 90% of the world's oil sold, using the same currency? And what happens when they don't? To understand why, we have to go back to the 1970s. In the early 1970s, the global financial system was breaking apart. The US had just ended the gold standard, and the dollar needed a new foundation. That's when Washington made a quiet but world-changing deal. In 1974, the United States reached an agreement with Saudi Arabia, the world's most powerful oil producer. Saudi oil would be sold exclusively in US dollars. In return, the US guaranteed military protection, weapons, and political support. Once Saudi Arabia agreed, the rest of OPEC followed. If you wanted oil, you needed dollars. That single rule reshaped the global economy. Countries everywhere now had to hold US dollars, trade in US financial markets, rely on US banking systems. Oil demand became dollar demand, and that demand keeps the dollar dominant even today. But why would US invade and capture President Maduro and took control of Venezuela's oil? If China had successfully struck a deal with Venezuela to sell oil in yuan, it wouldn't just be a trade agreement. It wouldn't just be about energy. It would be a direct challenge to the global financial order. Here's why. Venezuela sits on the largest proven oil reserves on Earth, over 300 billion barrels. That's more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia, more than the United States. At today's prices, that oil represents trillions of dollars locked beneath one country. But oil isn't just fuel. Oil is power. Since the 1970s, global oil trade has been priced almost entirely in US dollars. This system, often called the petrodollar, forces countries to hold dollars to buy energy, keeping the US currency at the center of the world economy. That system didn't happen by accident. Energy and the dollar became inseparable. Now, fast forward. Over the past decade, multiple countries have tried to weaken that system. China built CIPS, an alternative to SWIFT. BRICS discussed trading outside the dollar. Russia began selling energy in other currencies. And Venezuela, isolated, sanctioned, and desperate, explored selling oil outside the dollar system as well, and was very close to striking a deal with China to counter petrodollar system. That's where history gets uncomfortable. When leaders challenge the global oil currency order, consequences often follow. In 2000, Iraq announced oil sales in euros to counter US sanction and dominance. 3 years later, Saddam Hussein was removed and gone. In 2009, Libya proposed a gold-backed African currency that also challenges dollar. And 2 years later, Gaddafi was gone. In 2025, Venezuela and China, same deal with and sitting president is removed. Correlation doesn't prove causation, but patterns matter in geopolitics. If Venezuela's oil were ever fully integrated into a rival currency system like yuan or ruble or whatever, it wouldn't just affect energy markets. It would threaten dollar demand, US financial leverage, global trade flows, China-US power balance. That's why Venezuela isn't just a South American issue. It's a global choke point. In other words, death of dollar in today's world. Control the oil, you influence the currency. Control the currency, you shape the world economy. This is how modern power works, not by drilling the oil, but by controlling who gets to buy it, and in what currency. Geography decides where resources exist. Politics decides who controls the flow. And history shows one thing very clearly. These are the world's major oil producers.
Okay. All right. Sorry about the little glitch there. Hopefully you guys now have an understanding of what's at play here and how the Western Hemisphere needs to go through what Donald Trump is putting it through, right? Leave comments down below on your thoughts on the video you just saw. Hopefully you got a better understanding of what's at play here and how this game is played when it comes to oil. Okay, that's why I said they got a big challenge ahead of them in this game. All right, so now why the Western Hemisphere? According to what you just saw in that video there, what Trump is trying to accomplish here is very simple. Get the Russians out of the hemisphere, get the Chinese out of the hemisphere, especially them. All right, get the bad Islamic element out of the hemisphere as well. Take over Greenland, okay, which will give us strategic alliance with the North Pole because the Chinese and the Russians are there investing heavily, okay, heavily. That is key, all right? And once all of that is cleaned up in the Western Hemisphere, what does that do? It does three things. Number one, peace in the region, which Trump ran on. 2, commerce. 3, trade. In other words, it's a win-win for all of these countries, okay, that are getting rid of the riffraff, all right? And we will have a powerhouse of an economy while keeping our adversaries not only out of the Western Hemisphere, but get them pinned in their own corners and say, you guys figure it out, all right? And hey, maybe we can do some commerce, you know, some trade and maintain peace, right? Because nobody wants war. Because the days of, you know, forever wars are basically over at this point. Venezuela was a perfect example of that, right? There you go. It's that simple. What are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comments. Sam Spencer says here, with the leverage China already has over the world economy, could you imagine what would happen if they controlled the oil market? Good point. All right. We don't want that. Understand also that China depends heavily on Venezuelan oil. Look at all the unsanctioned tankers that were just confiscated by America that were headed over there or headed over to Russia. All right. So who are they going to depend on for oil? Iran? Iran's days are numbered also, folks. I don't know. Maybe they'll try to strike a deal with the Saudis. I have no idea. I'm just telling you, the focus is here in the Western Hemisphere, which is going to take me now to the next point that I wanted to share with you. Let me go ahead and quickly take a look at this. Okay, I see that. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen here real quick because I want you guys to take a look at what is somewhat new. Okay, and then I'll give you some really good contrast after that on what I said about a document that I was shared to that has not been vetted. It could be bullshit. I don't know, but you'll be able to connect the dots. Okay, so let me get this one up here on screen. Here we go. Boom. Let me share that. Okay, here we go. There it is right there. You know what? I'm going to take myself out of it and, well, let's, screw it. Let me go to big screen here real quick. All right, so here we go. So before I read this, I just want to bring up a quick note. If you guys remember back in 25, okay, maybe it was in September or something like that, SecWar called a big old meeting of military leadership, okay, over to Quantico, over in Virginia, or Langley. No, it wasn't Langley. It had to be Quantico. I don't know. It was in Virginia. And he brought all these generals and, upper echelon military people and stuff like that to have a conference. And allegedly it was streamed all over mainstream. Everybody saw it. And it was about getting rid of the wokeness in the military. It was about bringing up the standards of performance and blah, 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 and the trans and all this other shit about cleaning that up. However, what happened behind the scenes, which was not reported, okay, which was the behind closed door meetings, has everything to do with this. And that is the U.S. Western Hemisphere Command. Okay. So let me see if I can, you know what? Let me just do this. I'm just going to go ahead and go back to the bigger screen here. So I want you guys to read this completely. All right. So hold on a second for me. Bump. There we go. And boom. All right, here we go. All right, so I'll read this off to you and then we'll play a short video on what their mission is. All right, so the U.S. Army Western Hemisphere Command activated on December 5th, 2025 and headquartered at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. U.S. Army Western Hemisphere Command is an operational warfighting theater command headquarters that is focused on homeland defense, defense support to civil authorities, and theater security cooperation across the Western Hemisphere. Okay, now, the USA Western Hemisphere Command mission statement. U.S. Army Western Hemisphere Command, or USAWHC, is the theater army for U.S. Northern Command and U.S. Southern Command. It enables defense of the homeland, conducts defense support of civil authorities, crisis response, and regional security cooperation, provides training and ready land forces for global and regional employment, integrates Army capabilities into joint and interagency operations, and ensures the ability of the Army to mobilize and employ reserve component forces to secure American interests and security in the Western Hemisphere. All right, let's go ahead and play this video.
Introducing the U.S. Army Western Hemisphere Command. As part of the Army's continuous transformation initiative, the U.S. Army Western Hemisphere Command will serve as the cornerstone to meet changing threats and priorities in the Western Hemisphere. The U.S. Army Western Hemisphere Command will answer the call by uniting 3 unique military headquarters and a network of well-placed task forces into one unified command responsive to U.S. Northern and U.S. Southern combatant commands. This transformation ensures the Army can defend the homeland, deter foes, and strengthen partnerships in Latin America, the Caribbean, and North America. The U.S. Army Western Hemisphere Command's 5 core missions are homeland defense, defense support of civil authorities, humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, theater security cooperation, and immediate response force. Our core missions enable us to lead on all fronts: homeland defense and defense support of civil authorities, safeguard the homeland during crisis and catastrophic events. Humanitarian assistance and disaster relief extends American capability and goodwill to regional neighbors, strengthening stability and resiliency. Theater security cooperation builds the trusted relationships and coordination essential to success with our partner nations. The Immediate Response Force stands ready to rapidly deploy on short notice to crisis worldwide. Together, the U.S. Army Western Hemisphere Command's core missions enable greater agility to shift between domestic and international roles, ensuring readiness to protect the homeland, support our neighbors, and project power anywhere in the hemisphere. We are the U.S. Army Western Hemisphere Command.
Okay. All right. So there you have that. Okay. That video. This is giving you a broader perspective on why the Western Hemisphere and why the administration is making the moves that they are making currently right now. This is another piece to the puzzle. Okay. All right. So now what I'm going to share with you that I mentioned in the very, very beginning of the broadcast today is is a document, okay, that was fed to me from an unnamed source. I'm just going to leave it right there. I don't know if this document was AI generated. I don't know if this document has any truth in it. I found it a little bit weird. It could have been AI generated again, okay, for propaganda, misinformation, whatever the case may be. But what I found interesting in this document, which I'm going to bring up on screen here for you, is the wording that's in it and how it ties into what's currently going on in the Western Hemisphere, how it currently ties into the Army's new unit, and how it ties into the meeting of all the generals and all these people that went to that meeting that Hegseth spoke about in Virginia. Okay, there's a lot of connectivity here, but I have not been able to validate this form. You guys know I don't do tinfoil. I don't do any of that bullshit. So take it with a grain of salt. Take it for what it's worth. Let me go ahead and bring that up here real quick. Let's see. Here we go. There's no audio, there's no video for this either as well, but here we go. And I'm going to read it. I'm going to see if I can zoom in on this just a little bit. There we go. All right. So supposedly this was signed by Trump. I see a lot of errors here, a lot of inconsistencies. Again, this could have been AI generated. Like I said earlier, I have no idea, but let's go ahead and dive into it, right? So, declaration of authority and summons. Pay attention here to the language. It's very important, okay? Now, by the authority vested in the President of the United States for America, not of America. For America is the Republic. Of America is America Inc., the corporation, right? Know that distinction. There's a lot of common law here, okay? As Commander-in-Chief under Article 2 of the Constitution and by the immutable laws of common law sovereignty, it is hereby declared, 1, lawful command under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, or the UCMJ, every flag officer of the United States Armed Forces by oath and by law is bound to obey the lawful orders of the Commander-in-Chief. The UCMJ affirms that all generals and admirals remain subject to such orders, including the command to assemble. The command to assemble. The meeting up in Virginia, okay? Number 2, sovereign right under common law. This is, again, tinfoilish here for those of you, but you guys know if you've been following the Q drops and stuff like that, sovereignty and common law is very spoken highly because of what? the Republic, not America Inc. So, from ancient precedent to modern practice, the head of a sovereign republic or kingdom holds the prerogative to summon his military leaders for counsel, recognition of authority, and the reordering of the nation's defense. This right is both inherent and incontestable. Summons to assembly, that's number 3. Therefore, by order of His Excellency of the Western Kingdom and President of the United States of America. Wait a minute. Where have we heard this before? Oh, yeah, that's right. No King's Day. No kings. Remember no kings? Let that sink in too. All flag officers are hereby summoned to Virginia on September 30th, 2025. The meeting, okay, with Hegseth. This assembly shall formally recognize and reaffirm allegiance to the constitutional republic of the United States of America. Okay. Number 4, restoration of sovereignty. Upon this recognition, all military outposts and operations abroad, pay attention here, abroad, that were established under British Commonwealth or foreign dominion shall be lawfully closed or transferred, securing America's independence in full. I'm going to stop there real quick. Remember when Trump went over to see the Queen? And he basically was completely out of posture, which was basically an FU to her, right? Didn't stand or maneuver appropriately. And he said, the debt's been paid. You're no longer under our thumb. We're free from you. And then he went over to the Vatican and he took the gold out of the Vatican and brought it back. Let that sink in compared to this. Number 5, binding duty. This order is issued in fulfillment of the president's sacred duty to uphold the Constitution, protect the people, and preserve sovereignty of the Republic. All officers are bound by oath, honor, and law to obey. Hope you guys got that. Again, leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on that, right? Let me see. Going back over to the chat here real quick. The only reason Western businesses want to do businesses over there is the billion potential customers. That's from Sam. All right, cool deal. Aaron, okay, no. Joe G-Man, welcome to the chat. Thank you for stopping by. Let me see, Dagnar. I will find the videos and post them in Armando's Discord. There's lots of videos showing factories in China that only have skeleton crew running them. Yeah, okay. LDSA, since the general staff meeting, things for National Guard have gotten interesting, haven't they? Yeah, they have. Yeah, they have. All right. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about that write-up. And again, I cannot vet this to be real or true. I just found a lot of wording in this document that basically ties right into what we're experiencing today in real time with the hemisphere. What say you? I don't know, right? Just leave a comment. Now, I'm going to go over to the next one here, which has to do with the UN. Okay, why is this important? There has been chatter out there coming from Donald Trump and other members of his circle that we need to get the hell away from the UN, right? The blue helmets, because they haven't done shit for us. We're not doing shit for them. Obviously, they haven't done shit for anybody at all, right? It's just honest. So it's like, why have them? Why continue to pay? Why continue to, be under their thumb for whatever reason, right? They have that already in play. And again, this is another source that provided this information. Let me go ahead and bring this up on screen here. And it's a little bit lengthy, but it's okay. No big deal. Where is it? There it is right there. Boom. And it's no audio again. So here's what it is. So, and I have a written printout, which I have squared off here, and I'll get to that here in just a moment. So basically, breaking news, U.S. walks out of 66 international organizations. The White House today, and this was dated as of, I believe, 2 days ago, said that the U.S. would withdraw from 31 UN organizations below and 35 others on the right-hand side, okay? So I'm going to read these off because it is important. It is important that this is written. Number one, the Department of Economic and Social Affairs. You guys may pick up on some of these, right? So these are the ones that they said we're no longer dealing with this anymore. We're getting away from it. So that tells me that they are slowly but surely separating themselves away from the UN. Number two, UN Economic and Social Council, Economic Commission for Africa. Okay. Number three, Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean. Interesting. What's going on in the Western Hemisphere? Venezuela, Cuba, Nicaragua, right? Colombia, potentially. Let that sink in. Number four, Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific. China, Japan, ring a bell? Number five, Economic and Social Commission for Western Asia. All right. Number six, International Law Commission. Number seven, International Residual Mechanism for Criminal Tribunals. I'll stop there for a moment. If you guys didn't know, there's a big giant, and Catherine Herridge, if you remember her from Fox News, who had a fallout with them and then went to other media outlets and then went independent, is currently reporting and operating out of Gitmo. And she reported that they have built a gigantic, massive courthouse over there. I mean, this thing is like behemoth, brand spanking new. Could that be for tribunals coming up soon? Don't know, but that was her reporting that, not me. Okay. Oh, there go my doggos. I don't know. It's probably another deer in the front yard. Anyway, whatever. Just ignore that. All right. So the International Law Commission, number six. All right. Criminal Tribunals, International Trade Center. Number 9. Okay. And I'm going to stop on 10. Office of the Special Advisor on Africa. All right. So number 10, between number 10 and number 14, okay, is squared off in the document that I have here because this apparently has already been done. Okay, this is talk. The other ones are in play. So number 10, Office of the Special Representative of the Secretary General for Children in Armed Conflict. Ukraine, ring a bell? Russia? Number 11, Office of the Special Representatives of the Secretary General on Sexual Violence in Conflict. Trafficking of kids. Number 12, Office of the Special Representative of the Secretary General on Violence Against Children. 13, Peace Building Commission. 14, Peace Building Fund. All right, this is, all that money that gets paid by the U.S. taxpayers on pork. All right, that basically you never know what the results are of that. All right. 15, Permanent Forum of People of African Descent. Your South Africaners. UN Alliance of Civilizations. 17, UN Collaborative Program on Reducing Emissions from Deforestation and Forest Degradation in Developing Countries. 18, UN Conference on Trade and Development. 19, UN Democracy Fund. There's a bad word. Number 20, UN Energy. 21, UN Entity for Gender, Equality, and the Empowerment of Women. Glad we're not paying for that anymore. 22, UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. 23, UN Human Settlements Program. 24, UN Institute for Training and Research. 25, UN Oceans. 26, UN Population Fund. I wonder if that's to get rid of it. 27, UN Register of Conventional Arms. 28, UN System Chief Executive Boards for Coordination. This is all very vague, not very detailed, right? So you understand the money problem. UN System Staff College. Yep, the Indoctrination Center. 30, UN Water and UN University 31. Right? So the ones on the right side are the other, I'm going to call them not necessarily NGOs, but just, an extension arm of U.S. of UN policy that the US taxpayer is paying for, that they're doing away with, right? All right, so reading from the top, number one on that side, 24/7 carbon-free energy compact. Number two, Colombo Plan Council. Number three, Commission for Environmental Cooperation. Four, Education Cannot Wait. There's a great one. Number five, European Center of Excellence for Counseling Hybrid Threats. I'll go back to four on Education Cannot Wait. The dissolvement of the Department of Education, giving education back to the states instead of the government. That's my opinion again. Okay. Five, European Center of Excellence for Countering Hybrid Threats. Six, Forum of European National Highway Research Laboratories. Number seven, Freedom Online Coalition. Eight, Global Community Engagement and Resilience Fund. Nine, Global Counterterrorism Forum. 10, Global Forum on Cyber Expertise. 11, Global Forum on Migration and Development. 12, Inter-American Institute for Global Change Research. 13, Intergovernmental Forum on Mining, Minerals, Metals, and Sustainable Development. UN has their hands in everything. 14, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Again, do you guys smell WEF in here? Right? 15, Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services. More bullshit. 16, International Center for Study of Preservation and Restoration of Cultural Property. Cultural property. Maybe that has to do with Mandami and the whole, you can't own private property anymore. It'll be circumvented by whatever, which Trump is working on axing the shit out of that. 17, International Cotton Advisory Committee. Why do we need a Cotton Advisory Committee? I don't know. 18, International Development Law Organization. More fuckery from the bar. 19, International Energy Forum. 20, International Federation of Arts Councils and Culture Agencies. Again, DEI. 21, International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance. Oh, electoral assistance. I wonder if that's Smartmatic or Dominion. Oh, no more in Venezuela. Sorry. We took care of that too. 22, International Institute for Justice and the Rule of Law. 23, International Lead and Zinc Study Group. 24, International Renewable Energy Act. 25, International Solar Alliance. 26, International Tropical Timber Organization, the raping of the Amazon jungle. 27, International Union for Conservation of Nature. 28, Pan American Institute of Geography and History. Yeah, that's important. 29, Partnership for Atlantic Cooperation. 30, Regional Cooperation Agreement on Combating Piracy and Armed Robbery Against Ships in Asia. I wonder if the Somalis are pissed off about that too. I don't know, just open up a daycare center. 31, Regional Cooperation Council. 32, Renewable Energy Policy Network for the 21st Century. I wonder if that has to do with by 2030, you will own nothing and you'll be happy. 33, Science and Technology Center in Ukraine. Aren't they at war? 34, Secretariat of the Pacific Regional Environment Program. And finally, the last one, oh boy, this is the good one here. 35, Venice Commission of Council of Europe. Venice. Where is Venice? I think Venice is in Italy, right? Like close, maybe, in the area of the Vatican. I don't know. I'll just leave that one there. Anyway. All right. So are you guys understanding what I'm throwing down here? Right? Hi, Chunky. Little fat baby came in here. You guys understanding this, right? You guys are getting what I'm talking about here, reading through all that stuff, that we're basically axing all of these freaking money-sucking, taxpayer money organizations that are not doing shit for we the people at all. Like nothing, right? Well, he's axing that shit too, right? So he's pissing a lot of people off, but we don't care anymore because it's okay for the left to go on offense and, tear our asses a new butthole, right? While the Republicans on the other side, they just sit there and they take it and they preach and they preach and they do nothing, right? So we still have a lot of bad rhinos, in that structure sphere up in DC, and it's being slowly dismantled. Okay. Leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on that. Like, share, subscribe. And oh, by the way, if you guys got into the stream late, Rumble has done us Rumble people a huge solid. They've now allowed us to activate the little tip jar, and you'll see it down below. Okay. Which now, if you want to help out the channel, you can do so using what? Crypto. That's right. You can donate to the channel and help in crypto. Let that sink in for a minute. Our currency is going to change, folks. That's coming. You're starting to see this pop up all over the place now. Understand that. That's a little nugget there on the side. Okay. All right. So now back. We are going to go now to a drop that Sarah Adams did, just to let you know what we are facing in the country as far as the violence is concerned. Okay. We have talked about on this platform forever, for a long time, that when January 2026 came along, we were going to have a lot of violence, and we're seeing that today. We were going to see an escalation on the propaganda arm and the misinformation arm, basically trashing the administration on a weekly basis. We're starting to see that too. Okay. We're starting to see a lot of bad hombres out there also as well, doing a lot of bad things. Theft, robbery, observation, following people home invasions, things like that. It's happening here in my local area also as well, right? But thankfully, we still have some of the good people out there that are fighting the good fight. And Sarah Adams over on X dropped something that I just wanted to share with you. And once I finish this off, we will go to do a quick Q&A. Let me go ahead and share the screen here with you. And again, this will be no audio here. It's just to read it. Okay. So Sarah Adams post, and this was as of today. She says simply here, this is incredibly concerning. And she tags Representative Mike Rogers from Alabama on this. All right. And this girl here, maybe Danielle, she puts on here, what if I told you there are non-US citizens, truck drivers hauling military freight who aren't cleared to enter military bases, so they pay another driver to complete the delivery? You think I was lying? I'm not. You guys have heard about the CDL drivers that are illegals, that get fake licenses, they have road accidents, they kill people, okay, and things like that. Which, Mr. Duffy, our transportation secretary, is currently fighting that battle. All right, so check this out. This is a post of an ad that was put out there by one of these people. I need a driver that, and you can tell the broken language here, that U.S. citizen to deliver a load inside Luke Air Force military base that has a clean record. ASAP. Truck is already outside base. Just that the driver has a temporary paper license and need the actual license. Let me know anyone available. What's going on here? So you got an illegal, obviously, that doesn't have the clearance or the proper license to go into a military base, and he's looking for a U.S. citizen that has the proper credentials, right, to get hired and take a payout to drive this truck into Luke Air Force military base. My question is, what's he taking in there? Is he going to inspect the cargo inside the trailer? Oh, no, you can't do that because that's got a seal around the doors in the back, and it's got to be snipped, and you got to get cleared. I don't know. Well, what if there's an explosive device inside this truck? That would be a problem. And Sarah's been talking a lot about the Al-Qaeda element that's here, that they were going to pretend to be other people that they're not. So what if they get one of these operatives that has the clearance because he came into the country under the Biden administration legally? There's 1,500 of them here that came in that way. Civilian, clean shaven. You would never suspect that they will be Islamics. Okay? What are we going to have now? A freaking explosion inside one of our military bases? What's the severity of that? This is how brazen and how structured and how organized these fucking people are. Okay? I hope this dude gets busted. I hope they got eyes on this guy and they fucking arrest his ass, deport him. Better yet, just execute him, in my opinion. Right? Because this is an act of terrorism. All right? So there you have it. There you have it, folks. Okay? Again, if you're getting value out of the stream here tonight, man, like, share, subscribe, man. Help out the channel the best way that you can. I would greatly appreciate it, especially you folks over there over on YouTube. That would be amazing. All right. So let me go ahead and scroll through the chat here. And then we are going to do, let me see, where am I? Here we go. We're going to do a little bit of, actually, let's do this. Let's go ahead and do some Q&A, right? Let's take some questions. Again, I may not have all the answers, but I'll try my best to answer any of your questions. Okay. So it's up there on screen, Q&A, fire away whenever you want. And also, again, bing, 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 bing. There we go, man. I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to grow here. All right. So going back up to the chat, I'm just going to scroll through here. Let me see. Boom, boom. NYC Armando. Yeah. Joe G, man. Yeah. New York City, man. God, man. Anyway, bro, you need to get the hell out of the city. I know you can't. I get it. But bro, Tampon Tim, SM Grandel, hey, 1644, welcome to the chat. Been a while. Glad you're here. Thank you for stopping by. Tampon Tim is threatening to pit Minnesota National Guard against ICE. Okay, that's no problem. No problem at all. Because President Trump has the right to declare a national emergency, and it doesn't have to be the entire country. He can do it on a state-by-state basis. Let's see how good that works out, right? Because forget that. We'll just take ICE out of the picture, bring in the Marines. Let's see how that works. It's going to get violent, folks. I'm telling you, it's going to get violent. Dagnar, Trump will take command of them if he does that. And besides, the Dems did tell the military to ignore orders. Yeah, there you go. Telling them to stand down. You can't make this shit up. Aaron Gassmeyer, 17. Thanks for being here, bro. Mike Lindell flirted with the thought of running for Minnesota governor. Yeah, why not? Let's get Pillow Man in there. You know, shit. At this point, yeah, let's take anybody but these idiots that are there. And let's do the same thing in Paterson, New Jersey. Let's do the same thing in New York City. Let's do the same thing in Seattle, Washington. This movement, folks, this movement is growing by leaps and bounds. Is it being ignored? In my opinion, yes. No one's batting an eye. Tampa right now, Tampa, Florida, for any of you folks from Florida, is in play right now by the Islamic movement, the caliphate. Okay, you got mosques springing up. They're in local governments. They're just spreading the tentacles of poison in Tampa, Florida. No one's talking about it. Nobody. Okay, Texas, you got more mosques than you have cowboy hats, basically. All right. No one's talking about it. They're trying to do everything they can. But again, it has not hit the mainstream. And the reason why, they're not being allowed to talk about it. Who controls the media? Well, the Five Eyes do, right? That's who controls this entire thing. I'm not saying they're all bad people in there, but you do have some bad apples. Okay, like you do at the Bureau. Say what you want about Dan Bongino if you want. But that boy walked in there with a protocol and a process in mind. He saw the machine that he was up against, and he was like, oh, hell no. It's mission impossible, right? And he said, I'm out. Screw this, man. You know, I don't fault the guy. Don't blame him. Okay, he got cock blocked at every turn of the moment, especially with the Epstein shit. Okay. Patel, he's doing a stand-up job, but Patel will tell you, okay, right now, in my estimate, he can only trust 5% of the people that are around him. Everybody else is questionable. This is a battle, folks. This is a war. We are at war. It's a spiritual war. Political stuff there, but yeah, it's spiritual. Believe me when I tell you. So, where am I going with this? We are 5 months away from what? July 4th, 2026, the 250th anniversary of America. Expect something. Hopefully it's not bad, but expect something. And then 4 months later, we have what? The midterms, which we must absolutely win. The midterms. We had 8 seats in the House. We're down now to 4. We're in neutral territory, in my opinion. If we lose the House, Trump will be a lame duck for the remainder of his term. And I assure you, the next day, if they win the House, here come the impeachment proceedings. They're going to come after him. They're going to come after me. They're going to come after all MAGA, all pro-America, all veterans. And so we're going to be targets. And they're not going to be fucking around this time. They're going to be serious. We have to win the midterms. You have to get out there and you have to vote. By all means necessary. You got to get out there and you got to vote. And hopefully, with the fall of Venezuela and the fall of, Smartmatic and Dominion, which I know that was in play also as well. It was probably the number one objective, in my opinion. It wasn't about oil. Okay, but that's just my opinion. Oh, but Armando, they've got those machines already imported overseas, and they got those machines in California especially. Well, California is a test bed. Who cares, right? Doesn't matter. It'll get handled. But you put paper ballots into the system, like Trump said, you'd have a 1 day on election day, not none of this fucking mail-in ballot bullshit, all right? I think we have a chance, but you got to get out there and vote. Where am I going with this? We're in that window of time right now where shit needs to happen, and shit is going to happen. I don't know if that's going to be 10 days of darkness, and I don't want to do fear porn here because I don't delve in that neighborhood. I'm just giving you reality and gut, okay? We have a small window here, a very small window, okay? Shit's going to go down. When, how, where? I don't have that crystal ball. I don't have that pixie dust or juju or whatever you want to call it. I just have gut, and I just do a lot of investigating and siphon through the bullshit to try to get actual information to bring to you guys. All right. We are going to have minimum 30 days of darkness. People say, 10 days of darkness. No, I think it's going to be minimum 30 days to send a message. I think the currency is going to take a hit. The power grid's going to take a hit. Okay. I think that violence is going to get to the point where it's going to be, it's going to be like, oh shit, that type of thing. This is why I keep preaching, prepare, like it's nobody's business. You have to prepare. Okay? I'm going to tell you something else here real quick. You absolutely, definitely, if you can't afford it, try to find, stuff that you have hoarded in your garage, in your basement or whatever. Do a yard sale, put it up on Marketplace, sell it to get some money because I know things are still tight. Trust me, I know. Okay? As far as money is concerned, sell it and go to the well. And I'm not endorsing these people. They don't support me. Okay? I don't get any affiliate marketing from them at all, but they're a good company. Go to thewellnesscompany.com. Okay? And they have a kit that they sell. I don't know how much it costs either. Just go and check it out. If it's too expensive, fuck it. Find an alternative. They have a kit that they sell in preparation for what? This massive on steroids flu bug that is basically littering the country right now. RogueRN did share that with me. Hospitals right now are overwhelmed with massive flu cases. There already have been deaths, especially with kids. We talked about this before. Okay. They have a kit at thewellnesscompany.com that has some sort of respirator or something like that. They've got other meds in there to basically and naturally, very important, okay, divert you away from catching this bug because it's very, very contagious, extremely contagious. So go and check them out. Matter of fact, if you give me 1 second, let me see if I have a link to that. I know I may have disappeared. Maybe I disappeared from the screen. I got to go to my email here real quick and to see if I have it. Yep, I think I do have it here. Yep, there it is. There's the link. Let me just go ahead and click on that link here real quick. I do. And it's actually a write-up. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and share this. Give me 1 second here, folks. Okay. Let me go back over here. All right. I'm going to bring this up on screen and I'll finish off the broadcast with this and then I'll answer some questions. Okay. I missed this. Share screen. And this is also again from provided by the good folks over at Zero Hedge. Here we go. Let me go ahead and share this and we'll go ahead and read it. All right, again, full screen. I'm off camera here as far as I can tell, but you guys maybe you can still see me. I don't know. All right, so Zero Hedge is talking about flu-like activity level by state. All right, so the dark brown is very high, then you have high, then you have moderate, then you have low. Take a look at this map right here, okay, and just pick out your state and see what the severity is. Okay, mine is in the shit-colored brown. Of course, I'm down in the south. All right, so notes, insufficient data was available for Nevada. So Nevada, basically, there's no data on that as of right now. And this was going through December 27th. All right, so of course, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, all right, trusted medical experts like Dr. Peter McCullough warned months ago that this year's flu season would be one for the record books, in part because this year's more virulent flu variant would not respond to the so-called flu vaccine. Of course not. Dr. McCullough told Real America's Voice, quote, this year's dominant, there it is, H3N2 strain is unlikely to respond well to the current flu vaccine formulation despite millions of Americans receiving it. Okay? So Dr. McCullough was unfortunately absolutely correct. This year's flu is more deadly, more virulent, and the flu vaccine is doing almost nothing to stop its spread. Now the mainstream media is catching on. Oh, go figure. Fuck ABC News. I want to get down to the wellness company. All right, so doctor visits for flu-like symptoms. Here we go. Fevers, sore throat, extreme fatigue, and body aches have hit the highest level in nearly 30 years, according to the CDC, and are likely to continue to rise in the coming weeks. Okay, this is a fairly new report. At least 5,000 people have died this season, including 9 children. We told you about this bug was going to be targeting kids, especially in the gut. Okay, especially kids, these sick bastards. So for the week ending December 27th, the CDC reported that nearly 1 in 10 outpatient visits nationwide, or 82%, were for flu-like illnesses. That's the highest logged since CDC started tracking such visits in 1997. The flu has accounted for more than 11 million illnesses this season and 120,000 hospitalizations. 45 states are experiencing high to very high levels of flu activity. Public health experts are calling it a perfect storm. Strain due to its severity, rapid spread, and the fact that this year's flu vaccine does not directly match the variant. Of course not. Can you say reverse engineered? I don't know. You know, symptoms and familiar fever, chills, fatigue, cough, sore throat, but reports suggest that they are more intense and stronger lasting than what many people are used to. Most frightening is that as bad as it is likely to get worse, because the latest data from the weeks of Christmas, it doesn't yet reflect illnesses caused by holiday travel and gatherings, right? Quote, it is still too soon to know what the impact of the holiday season is going to be on flu activity, said Krista Niss, an epidemiologist in the CDC's influenza division. We're not anywhere close to being done, right? So the key to avoiding hospitalization and early treatment, and here's the kit I was telling you about. It's the Wellness Company Contagion Emergency Kit. If you feel the need, and again, no endorsements here whatsoever, no affiliate marketing again, okay? I just happened to come across this, right? If you feel the need to pick up one of these kits and add it to your first aid kit while we prepare for what's to come, do so. I'm going to look at it myself, and if it's not too pocket straining, I may go ahead and pull the plug on this, okay? Why? I'll tell you one reason why. This thing hits kids real good. My day job is in the schools. All right. Most of us, especially teachers, if you're teachers out there, or you're a first responder, or you work in hospitals, you're around sick people all the time. In other words, we are very susceptible to catching shit, right? So there you go. All right. So while trying to avoid the flu is important, the reality is that sometimes there is nothing you can do to prevent from getting sick. That's when early treatment becomes so important. Okay. Early treatment with prescription antivirals can shorten the length and severity of the flu and avoid dangerous hospitalizations or trips to the emergency room. That's why many families choose to keep the contagion emergency kit on hand. It includes physician-prescribed antiviral options, including Tamiflu, when appropriate, so treatment can begin at the first sign of illness, not days after, pharmacy delays, keyword here, or packed urgent care visits. In other words, trying to get in to get treated, right? Like your, well, not really emergency use rooms, but your urgent cares, right? So act today and be prepared. The winter isn't about fear. It's about being informed and prepared. Flu strain changes, vaccine ineffectiveness varies, respiratory viruses surge during travel and indoor gatherings. Be prepared, blah, blah, blah. All right. There's, all this other stuff, but you guys get the drift. All right. So wellnesscompany.com, or let me see here. Let's just take a look. There it is. It's on screen there. Hope you guys can see it. Contagion emergency kit. 5 stars, 642 reviews, $325. Okay, it ain't cheap, not by any stretch, not by any stretch. But like I said, if you have the means and the capability to afford to get something like that, but you're short on money, sell something, right? I don't know if you got room on a credit card, try to do that, because it's more important to stay safe and stay healthy, especially when the shit hits the fan, than not, right? I'd rather need it and not. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it, if that makes any sense. And again, it's just my opinion. I'm just putting it out there, right? Our window is short, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, the propaganda, the freaking misinformation, the attacks are going to escalate on a weekly basis. We're already seeing it. Okay. And the media is not going to tell you jack shit about it. They're told not to tell you. They're only told to report certain things, which is pointless. All right. So let me go ahead and do some Q&A. It's up on the screen right now, and I'll take a few questions and we'll call it. All right. Let me scroll up in the chat here just a little bit. Shaping a D-guard for the big trench knife. Oh, Dagnar, thank you so much. So I don't know if Armando answered my question or not. I don't know. You want to repost your question, Dagnar? Just let me know, or DM me or hit me up on Discord, bro. Let me see. Steve was on point here. Steve W79, he says over $300 last I knew. Yeah, man, I know. Let me go here. Let me see. My feed cutting out. I don't know if you're on YouTube or if well, obviously you're here in Rumble, so everything here is fine on my end. I don't know. Could be internet fuckery like usual. Wouldn't surprise me. Sam Spencer, one thing I would advise is have your doctors check your nutrient levels. Yes, absolutely. And can take all the vaccinations you want, but without good immune system, it wouldn't mean anything. That is correct, Sam. On point. Do a lot of holistic stuff, natural stuff. Okay. Think about putting together, if you can, an apothecary. Okay. And use natural remedy, because medicine used to come from plants. Right now, it comes from some laboratory that's all freaking, synthetics and freaking artificially made. So that would be a good idea. Let me see. Sam Spencer. Okay. All right. He is also on YouTube and the feed is good on my end. Okay. Right. Thanks for that, Sam. Vitamin C and zinc. Yeah. Money Woman 11 from Down Under. Absolutely. Spot on. All right. And try to source a vitamin C and a zinc as natural as possible. If it's food-based, it's even more important. Not medicated, not medicine-based, or you know what I mean, laboratory artificial shit. Okay. Because there's one thing I do know about vitamins, because I did a deep dive into this. I source all my supplements on food-based vitamins. Yes, it's food-based, meaning it takes a little bit longer to process in your body as opposed to non-food-based vitamins. And you want a good example of that. vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, whatever it is that you're taking, like from your retail stores, there's a reason why when you go, number one, to the potty, okay, and your recycled beverages come out pink, orange, green, or whatever. That's your body rejecting what it did not absorb. All right? Think about that for a minute. Your body says, I don't like this shit. So out it goes. And you really get nothing out of it, right? Vitamins and supplements are not regulated. They're not. So the label that you see on the back of most of those bottles is all bullshit. Nobody regulates it. And anything that you see on some of these bottles that say, oh, this is organic, it's horse shit too, right? Because years ago, I dove into a study where this independent company went into GNC, Walmart, and other retailers of said vitamins. They pulled a bunch of shit off of the shelf, took it into a laboratory, ran tests on it, okay? And the best one that they advertised, only had 1% of what they advertised in the bottle. The rest was garbage, right? So you could be taking a vitamin C like that, and you're basically having, I don't know, a ficus tree, sawdust and whatever in there, right? And the only reason they get away with labeling organic is all they got to do is put a little piece of a leaf or twig or whatever in there. Oh, it's organic. It came from a plant. They're covered, right? But nobody regulates these people. There is no regulation for that. Companies that do a food-based nutritional supplement have to pay millions and millions of dollars to be lawfully certified that they are truly organic, meaning that what's advertised on the label is actually in the product. It's actually in the product, okay? So just know that little piece of information. MP20 says, okay, Xanavar, I'll get to you in a minute, MP. Beans, batteries, and yeah, freedom seeds. I got you. I read through that. It's okay. You can post it here on Rumble. It's you can put bullets there. Doesn't matter. I got bullets here, right? I do. I actually have bullets here, right? Here. I have explosives too. Right? Anyway, just thought I'd share that with you. All right. So, organic doesn't mean anything nowadays. Yep, true. Joe G Man, vitamin D3, vitamin C, zinc, quinine, and elderberry. Elderberry is very, very good. Let me see. I'm sick and everyone I know. Okay, there you go. I'm telling you, jump on this, man, sooner than later. Xanavar, I personally like Genexa homeopathic chew tablets that don't include acetaminophen. Yep, okay, there you go. Crowder is selling one that they advertise as actually legit. Okay, Steve W79, do your research. Do your research. That's all I'm saying. It's called Foundation, Steve says here. Crowder Shop has it. All right, just do your homework. Do your research. Doesn't matter where you get it from, folks, as long as you got something that's going to help you. All right. MP20, but we are told months before these viruses hit us that it was coming. Yep, we did. How did those sounding the alarm know about it? Well, who are the ones that are sounding the alarm? I'll give you one name, Bill Gates, right? He's been screaming about this shit since November before Thanksgiving, right? And he coined the month of January 2026, and voila, here we go. CDC comes out like what I just read, right? And let the fear hit the populace, right? This guy is, anyway, I'm not going down that rabbit hole tonight. I'm not going to. You guys understand. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about because you guys know what's going on. You guys are educated. You guys come here all the time and you're informed. I'm concerned about the ones out there that are not informed. Okay? Period. That's just the way it is. And now all of a sudden you've got, RFK Jr. with the upside down nutritional pyramid. Start connecting the dots, folks. You need to read between the lines. Read between the propaganda. Okay, that's what this is about. Xanavar, for anyone that is not a fan of citrus, strawberries have more vitamin C than oranges. There you go. MP20, you feel better and then it comes back like a bad penny. Yeah, it does. It does. Your immune system is basically your fortress to everything in the body. It just is. Healthy immune system keeps the bad bugs away. Try to eat as clean as you can. Try. Telling you, just try is all you can do. You can only do the best that you can with what you have. Okay? Until the money gets better, I hope. Anyway. But all right, I'm going over to the YouTube chat over there. Let me see. See if anything here. Taco Tony, welcome to YouTube. Thanks for popping in here. Don't recognize your name. There's Jose. Okay, there's Shield. Sam, of course, on his big old TV. Awesome. Okay. All right. Excellent. All right. Any more questions, folks? Any more questions? Any more Q&A? Bum, 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 bum. All right. Like, share, subscribe is coming up. There it is. All right. Zanovar, the gut microbiome is 80% of your body's immune system. It works in tandem with the native immune system, white blood cells, etc. Yeah, I know, girl. You got it going on, man. Especially with the pets. Yeah. These vaccinations may be causing autoimmune disease. Yeah, of course. Well, we were at what, 72, 73 vaccines, and RFK is now like, no, we're going down to 7 or something like that, just like Europe does. Go figure, right? Let me see. Joe G, man, a good doc to listen to, Dr. Eric Neptune with Neptune Wellness. He's on Facebook. Okay, there you go. There's another golden nugget for you folks. That has been my focus, the gut. Yes, the gut. Everything happens in the gut. Remember that. They're spot on here. So what do you need for the gut, right? Fiber is a good one, a good source of fiber, right? Natural Greek yogurt or homemade yogurt, okay? That is excellent, all right? Also as well to take care of that. Dagnar, 11 Armando. I don't know what that means, bro. More specific. Hit me up on Discord with a message, man. We'll chit chat after the stream here. All right. So learn about anti-nutrients too. Plant need special care and a lot of it. Time to reduce anti-nutrient load. Awesome. Steve says, I've been eating Greek yogurt lately. Yeah. The more plain the yogurt is, non-flavored, no dyes and stuff like that, the better it is for you. I'm trying to think of the word, and it's not coming to mind right now, which is excellent for the gut, but it has to be a very, very good source of it. Help me out here, guys. You medical people out there. I know there are some of you here. God bless it, man. I just had a tremendous brain fart because a probiotic. That's it. A probiotic. Source a good probiotic. Probiotic for the gut is amazing. Healthy gut, healthy body, because everything goes through. Everything you consume feeds the rest of your body. Heart, your brain, all that stuff. Everything happens in the gut. Good gut health is critical. Okay, so a good probiotic is very, very good. Probiotic and a prebiotic, absolutely. Fermented foods. Safira 421, it's been a while. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you. Okay, not convinced about postbiotics. Okay, all right. You guys know what I'm talking about. You guys have a great idea about that. All right, guys. I'm going to call it for tonight one more time just before I get out of here. Stay safe out there, please. Okay, really. I got a lot of stuff that I'm going to be doing. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to mention, because of the holidays and stuff like that, I've been slacking a little bit on the podcast end of, the Feve project. And also I've been slacking on Unchained Radio podcast over on the audio versions and the video, but Feve project, I am going to concentrate. I'm working on the continuation of the channeling series, which because of the holidays, I didn't have enough time to do it. But expect that coming up very, very soon, hopefully before the next live stream. And we're going to have a lot more good stuff coming down the pipe. I'm trying to line up some really high-end interviews. Hopefully here I can source those people also as well, just to expand the broadcast a little bit. So again, if you guys got value out of the stream today, like, share, subscribe, especially over there on the YouTube side. Give me a follow over there. Again, just not that's going to do anything. It's free. I mean, I'm just trying to boost the numbers. Subscribe to the channel here on Rumble if you haven't done so already. Crypto donations greatly appreciated. It's there. Join the merch shop is there too. Just click on the shop bag. Helps us out tremendously here on the channel. Greatly appreciated. And I know it's after the holidays. We're all trying to get over Christmas and all that stuff, but I'm just putting it out there. So anything is greatly appreciated. So with that, folks, I appreciate you guys coming out tonight. And as usual, my sign off. All right. Keep your head on a swivel, keep your powder dry, and above all, God bless. Stay safe out there, and please, please, please be vigilant and prepare. I'll catch you on the next one. Love you guys. Take care.